Is Ireland going to join NATO? Neil McConnell speaks to an African Irishman, and a 6-year-old child has been found dead in a car. We're going to go through all of these topics today. Now, we're going to start off with the NATO thing because this is fascinating, guys. This is so fascinating to watch. Ireland and NATO. Now, there's already they've got like a program in with each other, but the article I'm about to read is from the Irish Times, and this is one step further to Ireland being involved with NATO, a full-blown membership. And I see this as a complete hypocritical situation. The hypocrisy is running out of them. Do as I say, not as I do. They are the people who run Europe, the people who run this world are disgusting human beings. If I came out with certain things like this in this article, I would be considered far right and racist. But because they're speaking about another group of people, then it's considered okay. Then we'll talk about the Niall McConnell interview with the Nigerian Irishman, who I don't mind Niall's questioning on him, but I actually think the young lad or the fella, whatever age he is, done pretty well. And he was very, very honest. And he always come from the standpoint. With me, it's not about race. It's not about religion. It's not about any of those things. I don't care what color you are. I never look at somebody and judge them on the color of their skin. I never look at somebody and judge them on their religion. What I do judge them on is their thinking whenever I speak to them. So, for instance, if I see somebody wearing a jihadi outfit, like a scene at the Antifa counter protest, I'll automatically think that guy's a radical. Now, a lot of people have said to me, well, Palestinians wear that. Okay, that's fine. Do you think he was wearing that because he's supportive of Palestine? Possibly. Or because it was hot outside and that's a piece of cloth that keeps you cool? No, he was wearing that to make a statement. He was wearing that to make a statement. And I seen him as a jihadist. And that's the way I feel about it. If I seen a person wearing a balaclava walking down my street, I would think that person is either paramilitary or supports the paramilitaries. It is what it is. But if I approach a Muslim, I don't automatically think that he's for Sharia law or a jihadist. But when I speak to them and I hear their policies and that person says, well, actually, yeah, I agree with Sharia law. And I say, well, hold on. So you agree for A, B, and C? Then I will not like that person because he's an advocate for Sharia law or he is a jihadist. I don't like that person. It's not because of the color of his skin. So when Niall McConnell spoke to this guy, this young fella spoke back very honestly. And I think he's a credit to Ireland, this young Irishman. He's an absolute credit to Ireland because he was honest. He was just honest, and he talked about it. He talked about a Boko Haram where he used to come from in Nigeria. Nigerian doctors, by the way, are the best doctors, the best bedside manner. They're fantastic people. So yeah, we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to get into the young boy that was. I don't think he was found dead. I think they were trying to save him at the scene, but he was found in a car and then later died. I believe we're going to get into that article too. So yeah, let's get into the article now on NATO and Ireland. Ireland and NATO enter a new agreement to counter Russia threat. Deal gives Ireland greater access to NATO resources, including sensitive intelligence, but is not a step towards full membership, government insists. Ireland has entered a new agreement with NATO aimed at protecting subsea infrastructure and countering threats from aggressive nations such as Russia. The new streamlined agreement replaces a more complex collection of protocols between Ireland and NATO. It will last until 2028 and will give Ireland greater access to NATO resources, including sensitive intelligence. However, the government insists it is not a step towards full membership of the Defence Alliance. It comes after an influential conservative UK think tank accused Ireland this week of freeloading of NATO and posing as a backdoor threat to UK security from Russia, China, Chinese, and Iranian actors. In that report, forward Two former UK Defence Secretaries said the Republic plays very little part in European defence cooperation. Its forces, especially maritime, need rapid strengthening to be able to be capable of defending against today's threats. Now, here's where these are hypocrites. Number one, I have to point this out. If I said this, if I replaced this sentence here or this paragraph here with just Islam. So if I said it comes as an influential conservative think tank accused Ireland this week of it's not that. Oh no, yes, freeloading of NATO and posing as a backdoor threat to UK security from radical Islamists. I'm now far right and a racist. But they said Russian, Chinese, and Iranian actors, even though Iran is a Muslim country. So you have to understand. You have to understand. If I replace that with a legitimate threat to Ireland as, say, radical Islam, people who support Sharia law, jihadists, then I'm far right. So this is where the media, the Irish Times and the mainstream media can speak like this and they can be free from scrutiny. But if I say that, I'm considered far right and a racist. And in my opinion, that's the greatest threat. That's the greatest threat to Ireland right now is radical Islam. So, that's my opinion. If you're looking at it on the streets, if you look at the ideology that's coming in, people can come in here, just rip up their passport. Why would you want to rip up your passport? You can come in here if you're a rapist. This has not got nothing to do with your religion, by the way. There's lots of people from all different countries come over here and just rip up their passport. You can be a rapist, a paedophile, a criminal, and the Irish government will give you funds. They'll give you a house, clothes, and a mobile phone. They don't want to know who you are because all they want is your vote to keep the corrupt in power. That is it. So it's very, very important for the Irish people to vote to get these corrupt politicians out of power. And whoever does come into power after this, you need to be always on their back. Just don't vote somebody in and go, well, that's it. Now, no, doesn't matter who goes in, whether if they're right leaning or left leaning, everybody will be corrupted at some stage. So, do you get what I'm saying with this? And my biggest fear with this is, right, they're trying to say that this isn't a step forward for Ireland joining NATO, like having a full-blown membership with NATO. This is. Once again, they slow drip this in, and the next minute, boom, you're full-blown member with NATO. Now, you have to understand Ireland, the Irish military, the Irish Defence Force, they're peacekeeping. They're not an aggressive army. They're trained to be aggressive. They're trained to shoot a weapon. They're trained to defend themselves, but they're coherently for peacekeeping. During the prior to the Israel and Palestine war kicking off fully, because it was going on for years prior to that, what the Israelis have been doing to the Palestinian people is nothing short of disgusting. Prior to the war, it was like an open prison, what they've been doing to those people. But Hamas is also a terrorist organization. You see what it's done there? You don't have to be a puppet. You don't have to be for either side. You can say, well, what the Israelis have been doing to the Palestinians is disgusting. But Hamas is also a terrorist organization that doesn't have the best interests at heart for the Palestinians. And why didn't they rise up through the ranks politically to help the Palestinians instead of attacking the Israelis and killing innocent people? Why did they do that? They provoked a situation knowing that Israel is tyrannical towards the Palestinian people. Now the Israelis don't care, and North Gaza doesn't exist. Two evils, people. Two wrongs don't make a right. So, that's a different subject. That's a completely different subject. Hamas is evil, and so is Israel. And there's good Jewish people in the middle, good Muslim people in the middle, and good Christians in the middle, dying needlessly, and children being bulldozed in under the ground and rubble by the psychotic Israelis. They don't give a fuck. That's just my personal opinion. They don't care. I don't care if you come in here and you're pro-Israel or you're pro-Palestine. You're a part of the problem. If you're pro any of these people, you should be pro-humanity, pro-life. I'm pro-life. What's happening to those people in Palestine is disgusting. What we're coming up to now, 30,000 people dead, most of them young people. The average age in Palestine's 19. Come on, man. Hamas seen that as they were elected in the mid 2000s, and they promised democracy and to be their voice. And what did Hamas do? They basically abolished democracy. So I can't respect that, and I don't respect any type of radicalism. And Hamas just doesn't stop at Palestine because they're coherently in them. They are it's Islam. They want world domination. They want Sharia law all around the world. That's why a lot of the Muslims flee these countries and come to the West to get away from that. But now they're met. Now we're allowing the bad people in too. And then you've got the Israelis that are basically the sole, not the sole cause, but they're involved in a lot of wars and starting a lot of wars around Earth. And let's just point out the facts here that Gaza has a lot of resources underneath the ground, and and Israel would like to take control of that. So there's psychopaths, and then there's good people in the middle dying. Have an open mind, folks. Don't if you're not from Israel, you're not from Palestine. What are you doing supporting either? And the occupation thing too is discussed, and that's a different. I'll do a different video on that. So the Irish government the Irish Defence Force was peacekeeping on the border. I know people that were there, and they were peacekeeping on the border. Playing their part. And the Lebanon, going to the Leb too. And it's like the Irish, what they're doing, what NATO is doing is they're guilt tripping the Irish people and the Irish government into they're basically guilt tripping them and saying, look, you take a lot from us, but you give nothing back. So you need to do this for us. You need to go a little bit further. You don't have to join membership because your people will go mad about that. I think we're going to war. And I think this is a push. They're trying to gain more troops for war. But just do this little thing for us, right? Just do this one little thing for us and everything will be fine. And because Leo Varadkar is the weakest leader that Ireland has ever had, and he is a Davos clown who would bend over backwards and take it up like a good one, just to please Klaus Schwab and the WEF communists. He will love this. He wants this. He really wants this because he wants to please his masters. That's the real subject here. And not only do they don't even have to convince him. He probably brought this to the table and said, look, yeah, of course, 100% we'll do it. But out in the front, he's saying, oh, well, I've got my worries. But realistically, he loves this. These people are sociopaths. Leo Varadkar isn't a narcissist. He doesn't want unearned attention, but he is a sociopath because he refuses to listen to the people of Ireland. And anybody that opposes him is far right and a racist. So we know that that's wrong. So what does that make him? That makes him a far left whack job. That's who's running Ireland. And the Irish people need to vote him out ASAP. So my biggest fear with this one is that NATO is trying to gather up more troops just as much as they can, knowing that World War III is going to begin. And they're trying to put Ireland under pressure to get them into some sort of new deal so that when something does pop off, Ireland can't opt out. That's my opinion on that. The Irish people need to stand. And the thing about it is, they're trying to say that, Ireland could be used here as like for instance, look at the north and the south. There's the invisible border. I'm not for a hard border, by the way, but you can come into Ireland. Just say you want to get into Britain, right? Even though you could just come over to Britain in a dinghy boat now, but just say you wanted to get to a certain place. Just say you wanted to get to the United States. Where would you go to? Ireland's the best place. Open borders. Just say you're a jihadist. Open borders, or any other type of terrorist. You come into Ireland, open borders, rep up your passport, get a boat. I'm sure there's boats that go from Ireland to South America or whatever. I'm sure there is boats that do that, and nobody knows who you are. Come into South America somewhere and travel up into the United States. I'm sure there's human trafficking issues there somewhere. So to me, that's a greater threat than Russia, China, and Iran. They're saying that those countries can manipulate Ireland to sort of target NATO countries and target, whatever. But I would actually say if they're acknowledging that, then you need to acknowledge the threat of radical Islam here. The fact that you're able to bring up Iran, China, and Russia and not bring up the radical uh, Islam issue, and if you do bring up the radical Islam issue, you're considered racist. To me, that there you go. There's your contradiction. There you go. You've just seen it. It's right there, right in front of your face. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. We're not talking about all Muslims here. We're not talking about somebody's skin color. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about religion. We're talking about the ideology that comes with it. If this was Christianity and it had a radical, like for instance, I called out the Catholic Church for what the Catholic Church has been doing, had been doing to children. I've been one of the biggest advocates against the Vatican, saying that the Vatican is demonic. It does not represent Jesus Christ. I want nothing to do with the Vatican. Just be, uh, like a lot of Protestants don't want anything to do with the English Church or the Irish Church. They want nothing to do with it. It's because they've got their own beliefs and they stick to their own beliefs, and they're not going to facilitate these dirty mini little dictators that run, these churches. You've got your belief in God, and that's it. Do you understand me? Does that make sense? So I called out the Catholic Church what they've done. I'm calling out Islam for certain sects of Islam for what it's doing. Why can't there be whistleblowers in Islam? Because they're afraid. And there is jihadists, and they're coming into Ireland. And I don't care what anybody says. That is the truth. And we need to crack down on that for everybody of Ireland. We just need a vetting process. But if they're able to acknowledge that there's vulnerabilities in Ireland, and they need to sort of strengthen those vulnerabilities by, having a new partnership with NATO, then obviously they would have the intelligence to realize that those vulnerabilities are being exploited by radicals from all around the world, coming from countries that have radical ideologies like Sharia law, jihadists and things like that. Do you know what I mean? So they've acknowledged that the vulnerability is there, but they're doing nothing about it in regards to radical Islam. And to me, that's the greatest hypocrisy of all here. Well, so we're over here at Niall McConnell's Twitter page, X page, formerly known as Twitter, and he's interviewed a young lad here in Letterkenny. And look, I actually like this young lad. I've watched a bit of this here, and I actually like this young lad. I think that he speaks very, very honest. And, Niall's got every right to question anybody in Ireland whatever way he feels fit, just like this young fella has every right to answer how he feels fit, as long as they're not promoting any violence or criminality. Well, there's no issue. Now, people could disagree with Niall's questioning, but I suppose you have to ask the questions to see what the people are thinking. Now, he's titled this here, African in Ireland, I could wake up tomorrow and think I'm going to stab someone. But that's a little bit out of context, because I don't think he means it like that. We're going to watch this video now, and I'll give you my reaction.
A lot of potential here. It's not dangerous at all.
No?
No.
How come I hear people tell me that there's lots of violent crime here and
I haven't seen any violent crime.
prostitution?
I haven't seen any prostitution
No.
here at all. There's that everywhere in the world.
Are you
though.
blind, are you?
There's that everywhere though. Back in Dublin, or you go to Limerick or Galway, Cork, there's that everywhere.
No, never.
crime, there's
It never
prostitution
used to be
everywhere.
like that in Ireland.
Yeah.
Ireland used to be a very safe country.
It's fair enough. There's crime everywhere though. Some people are different. I can wake up tomorrow and I think to myself, I'm gonna stab someone. You get me? And I could be the most peaceful person ever.
You could wake up tomorrow and you think you're going to stab somebody.
Like people are different.
Is that
like,
normal? Is it?
It's not normal, but people are like that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like people.
So that's where the title comes from. African in Ireland, I could wake up tomorrow and think I'm going to stab someone. So he didn't say he's going to do that. He never said I have those thoughts. He said people are like that, and he's right. He's 100% right. And if we want to go back, I'm not. I'm totally 100% unbiased. If I see something that's a little bit unfair, I'm going to call it out because it's just my opinion. I actually think it's quite unfair to sort of title it like this, is to make this young fella out here as if he said that he's going to wake up in the morning and stab someone. He didn't say that. He says people are like that, and Ireland does have a crime problem. It always did. Now, I don't Niall McConnell I met him in Dublin. He told me he's a sheep farmer. I'm sure he's been all around Ireland. He's a very well-traveled fella. I'm not saying that, but you just have to look at Dublin in the 80s. The crime, it was absolutely terrible. The drugs that were coming into the country, and that was done by white Irish people, white Irish Christian people done that to themselves. It was a demonic thing. They filled their streets full of drugs. I, was going to live in Dublin whenever I was a child. My dad's a Dub, and my mum's just said, no, we're not moving to Dublin because it's just an absolute shithole. And that was in the 80s. I was born in 1987. So that, Ireland's always had a crime problem. Since then, there's been organized crime. There was just crime in the streets. There was a drug problem. There was stages of Ireland where you couldn't have walked through Dublin streets without fear of being mugged. And this was before the immigration crisis. So I have to call that out. Young fellas like this here are being took out of context. I don't like that title that Niall wrote. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you because it's not what he said. He said anybody could do that, and it's true. I spoke to a lot of people from different crime families in Ireland who done terrible things to each other, murdered, acid attacks, murdered each other on the street, stabbed people in the street. And this was Christian white people in Ireland that done this to each other. Now, obviously, there's an issue with radicals coming in here. Like Ireland has went through a time where the troubles with the conflict with Britain, and Ireland had to have its own paramilitary organization to fight against that. But that stops at Ireland. We don't want that to happen anymore. So why are we allowing other people from other countries to come in here with a radical ideology that could probably pop something off again, but in a different way? With radical Sharia law, jihadists, any type of radicalism. Radical Jewish people that are coming in here to cause trouble, radical Christians. I don't care what religion it is, but we need to clamp down the radicalism with a vetting process, a very heavy vetting process that you can't be a pedophile, a rapist, or a criminal, or even suspected of terrorism. If you have any of those things, you're not getting into the country. It's as simple as that. So this young fella here isn't saying that. He's trying to say, I could wake up in the morning and I could go out and stab someone, and I could be the most peaceful person in the world. What he's actually talking about there is mental health issues, and Ireland is going through a mental health crisis, and there's a lot of this. So I do find that title a little bit misdeceiving there. It is like it's deceiving what he's actually saying. So let's watch on.
People from Ireland aren't like that.
Honestly, you can't say that though.
Maybe people from Nigeria are like that.
No,
Irish
you
people are
can't.
like
You
that.
can't say that though.
You're the one
So
saying
you're
that,
saying. So you're saying.
Nigerians are the best doctors in the world. The Nigerians have the best progress. So for in schooling systems, I do believe the Chinese just overtake them because there's more of the Chinese, but the Nigerians are fantastic people. I know a lot of Nigerian people, a lot of Nigerian doctors that come over here, and they're brilliant people, and they're fantastic people. So I've got no issue with Nigerians. The only issue I have with certain people from Nigeria would be Boko Haram, the Islamic terrorist organization in Africa. That's the only issue I have, and what to do to the children. But the people that come over here from Nigeria are coherently good, decent people. Like,
An Irish person would never stab anyone.
No,
ever.
of course they do. It happens.
So, like,
but
yeah,
a lot.
it does happen.
Yeah,
Like,
but at a lot lower rates than migrant crime.
yeah, that's fair enough.
If you agree with me.
That is fair enough. I'm not agreeing with you, but that is fair enough. Yeah, look, crime is crime. Like, people will commit crimes. Like, it will happen at the end of the day. You can't stop people. So
certain groups commit more crimes than others.
Yeah. No, look, we're not in America. Like,
well, as I stated here, like, Ireland's always had an issue with certain crime. Just look in the 80s, look at the 90s, look at the wars. People shot, murdered, killed over drugs in the street. People were getting chopped up and being found in all different corners of Ireland just because of crime. That was white on white, Christian on Christian crime. So I'm not here as a defender of white people in Ireland. No, I can really state here that Ireland's always had an issue with crime. It's just now a different type of crime that could come in, a radical type of crime, a possible terrorist faction in Ireland being used as a hub because it's being allowed, because it doesn't have a vetting process. People like this here are a credit to the community. this young fella. I don't know his name, but he's a credit to the community. He's standing here and he's not getting wound up, and he's answering the questions how he feels like they should be answered.
You get me? It's not even that bad. It's not even that bad. It could be that bad in the future.
What do you mean bad? Bad as in what?
Like America is really bad in terms of crime and everything.
Yeah, and in the cities.
Far from it here and there, Kenny though.
Yeah, in the cities.
Yeah, probably would be. Yeah,
Where there's lots of African Americans.
Like you could say that, but you know, it's all planning. The government are putting these people together to kill each other.
So was this the government's fault?
So yeah, he brought up their America again. You have to understand the American issue. Like, I don't want to get into the whole American thing. I'll do a separate video on that. But in America, the African American, the reason why it's like that in regards to some places that have lots of African Americans, and they're just Americans. I hate calling them African Americans. They're Americans. That's one of the issues, is that America promotes segregation, and they also have told the Black American that that the big bad white man's done everything bad on them, and they need reparations, and it's set up for them to fail. And whenever you do that to a populace of people, regardless of their race, they will feel victimized. And when a person feels victimized, they get scared. And when a person's scared, they don't strive for greatness. They strive for revenge. So actually, organizations like Black Lives Matter harm their own community, and they don't even realize it. You know, Black Lives Matter is a communist organization that's siphoned. Well, the alias of not actually the alias of a communist organization, but they're actually real capitalists. You know, to quote one of the leaders of Black Lives Matter, I got lots of money and I didn't know what to do with it, so I just started buying property. So you're like a socialist. You're the alias of a socialist group for the rights of Black people, and but these are really covert capitalists. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, the American thing, there's reasons why that's happening in America.
For all this crime, then.
You could blame the government. People are blaming the government at the end of the day, so you could point fingers at anyone.
All right. What have you got there? You got a pizza box, have you?
Yeah, there's a 4-star pizza just around the corner.
All right, okay.
You do a nice lunchtime deal. It's about £7. You get a drink with it as well. Pop in if you're looking one of the days.
Right. Well, enjoy Ireland's hospitality, anyway.
So
what do you think of Letterkenny?
Well, enjoy Ireland's hospitality. He's Irish. He's Irish. The young fella's Irish. So it's not enjoy Ireland's hospitality. He's Irish. And on the race thing here, there is genetics found in America with certain in the Black community that trace back to Irish roots. So there's people in America that have Irish genetics and they're Black. So, you know, my bio says pure blood Irish. I say that to wind people up, by the way. I don't actually. I know that there's many different genetic strains that make Ireland. But realistically, though, you know, all jokes aside here, he's an Irish guy. This is an Irish man. I don't care the color of his skin. This is an Irish man. You don't have to enjoy Ireland's hospitality. He's Irish. He's a part of the hospitality.
It's cool. It's a cool place to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
Where are you from?
From Dublin.
From Dublin, all right.
Yeah.
And you born in Ireland, were you?
No, I was born back in Nigeria.
Oh, back in Nigeria. And your family came to Ireland, did they?
Yeah, been here my whole life, basically.
Right. And do you remember Nigeria or?
Yes, it's all right.
So he's been here his whole life. He's an Irishman, right? That's the end of discussion. This is an Irishman. I don't care about the color of his skin. He's an Irishman.
Right. I've been there much myself, but yeah, it's all right.
Right, okay. And why did your family come to Ireland from Nigeria?
Nigeria is no good.
Why?
Know yourself.
Nah, I've never been to Nigeria. You tell me.
It's all right, but Ireland would be better anyway.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. It's more opportunities here.
Right.
The weather isn't better anyway, but.
So were they claiming asylum from Nigeria?
No, they weren't. My mom had a job here.
All right.
And yeah, she's just working. Like, she's a nurse here, and she's just doing her thing.
All right.
His mum's a nurse, and this is the one thing I have to talk about with the Nigerians. They're absolutely fantastic nurses and doctors. I've never met a better nurse or doctor. Their bedside manner, the way they can treat children. My son had to get bloods taken. He's got autism, and the Nigerian doctor was fantastic. I mean, he was, and the level of care is second to none. So I've got massive respect for Africans and Nigerians, and his mum came in here legally She's a nurse and works here. This is an Irishman. Yes, he's got Nigerian heritage, but he's an Irishman, and you can tell that he's proud to be here. There's a massive difference here.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's a very diverse town now, Letterkenny, isn't
Do
it?
you think so?
Well, it's hard to see an Irishman.
Do you think so?
Well, it's look up down the streets. It's all.
Are you Irish yourself?
Do I look Irish?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
You've got a harp on you. And
Yeah.
everything.
Well, there you go. No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like the Letterkenny. I remember growing up here. It was a very. There was only Irish people. Within
Yeah.
10, 15 years, it's
Yeah.
just completely changed.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
And the Irish people have never been asked.
Yeah.
Irish people are being forced out.
What I would say is, what's that got to do with the young fella here that's been very, very honest and has said to you, look, my mother came here legally. I've lived here all my life. I've got Nigerian heritage. Anybody can stab anybody. We're not talking about the stabbings on the street. We all know about Aisling Murphy. We know about this, the children that are being stabbed. That's a separate topic. But is that being done by people like him? No. His mother came here legally. This is a young Irishman that has done probably a lot for his community. The community's changing in Ireland rapidly over the past 15 years. Has got nothing to do with him. That's got to do with the vetting process. His family would have been allowed in here because there was a vetting process, because his mother was a nurse. They weren't bad people with a radical ideology. They would have been allowed in, and rightly so. And rightly so. It's the radicals that are being allowed in from all around the world that I disagree with. That's my standpoint. This young fella isn't radical. This is a young Irishman that's done a lot for his community.
You
Do
know,
you think so?
of course they're being forced out.
Yeah. I wouldn't say so.
Well, 10 years ago in Letterkenny, it was all Irish people. Now it's Irish people are a minority.
Yeah.
So how are they not being forced out?
Do you think you're a minority here now?
In Letterkenny?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't say so.
We're not far off it then.
No, miles off. No, I wouldn't say so. No.
But would you have a concern? Well, would you understand my concerns that the Irish people are being forced out of towns, that the Irish people are like becoming a minority in their own country?
Not a
Does it
chance.
bother you?
Never, not a chance, no.
Right, okay. And
No.
But my question here is it the Irish people? But this is an Irish person. Is he forced out? So for instance, this young fella is used to Irish culture. He's got an Irish accent, and he is, integrated into Ireland. So he will be forced out under the radicals coming in. So if he doesn't abide by the laws of the radicals that possibly could own this place in another 15 years' time, he will also be forced out.
well, like, see, the problem is, right? Your family will come from Nigeria. There's no wars in Nigeria.
Yeah, there would be from time to time. Boko Haram and all. Boko Haram.
Yeah,
But
but
terrorists.
what?
Boom, there you go. He's acknowledged that a Boko Haram are terrorists. This young fella's an ally. This young fella's a credit to the community. He understands. So here's my point to use, right? Is this young fella far right and a racist? Because he's just called Boko Haram terrorists. This is what I've been saying for years. And we're allowing certain factions of these people in. He's just told you the terrorist organization that resides in certain areas of Nigeria, Boko Haram, are terrorists. So is this young fella far right and racist? This young fella is a credit to the community. Niall should be praising him here.
What has that got to do with Ireland?
It's gone on to Ireland now.
Yeah, but so why should we be accepting people in from countries with no wars?
Yeah, sure. If you wanted to move to Spain yourself tomorrow, why should they be accepting you?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
I mean, it's just people move.
Exactly. And this young fella came in here. His mother's a nurse. His family comes from probably a very, very good family. They've got a fantastic work ethic, the Nigerians, a lot of motivation. And I'll tell you, he's not a terrorist. He's not a bad person. Most of them aren't bad people coming from Nigeria. And he's correct there. I totally agree with this young fella.
Like find better jobs, better lives.
Yeah, but see,
It's just life.
But see, Nigerians come to Ireland and they get free accommodation. I pay for the
I
accommodation.
don't get free accommodation.
Yeah, but your family when they came here, they got free
didn't get
accommodation.
free accommodation.
So you're telling me they arrived
Nobody
here.
gets free accommodation. Probably now in the last 2 years, yeah, things are changing.
So
Boom. There you go. When this young fella's family came over from Nigeria, they didn't get free accommodation. They didn't get a handout. They didn't get everything. The mother had to work incredibly hard to provide for her children, to raise a son who's, by the way, is a credit to the fucking community. right? This young fella's a credit to the fucking community. And I'm glad that he's here, because Ireland's better with people like this in it. And, you know, as he said, it's only the past 2 years and what's changed over the past 2 years. Do you need to point out the obvious? Leo Varadkar's radical policies in Ireland, allowing anybody to come in. This young fella's family, if there was a heavy vetting process in Ireland right now, this young fella would be able to come in, because his family are 100% clean from any criminality or terrorism. Do you understand me? Is this sinking in, what I'm trying to say here?
You're telling me people arriving in Ireland are not getting free accommodation?
Like maybe in the last 2 years they maybe would
Not for
be,
long.
like a few Ukrainians or whatever it is here and there. But
Who do you think
Sure.
you're chatting to here now?
I wish I was getting free accommodation.
I will. It's, you know, it's like I do feel like Niall's trying to provoke him here. This young fella is saying, whenever I came in, we didn't get free accommodation, and they probably didn't. They probably didn't. It's only now that's over the past good couple of years. But I guarantee this young fella's family didn't get free accommodation.
Look, if there's free accommodation going, I'll take it.
That's exactly what an Irish guy would say. If there's free accommodation going, I'll take it. I agree. If there's free accommodation, I'll take it too.
What I'm saying. So look, that's all I'm saying.
So do you enjoy do you think Letterkenny should be a more diverse country or diverse city?
No, honestly, it is growing, and there's a lot of people moving here, and
Is it dangerous?
there's a lot of potential here. It's not dangerous at all.
No.
No,
How come I hear people tell me that there's lots of violent crime here and
I haven't seen any violent crime.
prostitution?
I haven't seen any prostitution
No.
here at all. There's that everywhere in the world.
Are you
though.
blind? Are you?
There's that everywhere though. Back in Dublin, or you go to Limerick or Galway, Cork. There's that everywhere.
No, never.
crime, there's
It never
prostitution
used to be
everywhere.
like that in Ireland.
Yeah,
Ireland used to be a very safe country.
it's fair enough. You know, there's crime everywhere though. You know, some people are different. You know, I can wake up tomorrow and I think to myself, I'm gonna stab someone. You get me? And I could be the most peaceful person ever.
You could wake up tomorrow and you think you're going to stab somebody.
You know, like people are different.
Is that
like,
normal? Is it?
It's not normal, but people are like that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like
People from Ireland aren't like that.
People from Ireland are like that. People from Ireland are like that. We need to really, really state this. To generalize a whole population and say, well, the people of Ireland don't want to wake up in the morning and stab each other. There's stabbings every day from Irish on Irish people. There was just a couple of years ago, people were chopped up and put into bin liner bags and found down a back alley in Ireland. That was with the crime families in Dublin. So we need to really be careful about our thinking here. So yes, is there crime where migrants come in and do terrible things to the native people? Yes, and that is an issue. But it's not from young fellas like this. And he didn't say, I'm going to wake up and stab somebody in the morning. He said, people just do that. Some people just do that. He's stating about the mental health issues. He's talking about anybody could do that. Not him personally, but anybody could do that.
Honestly, you can't say that though.
Maybe people from Nigeria are like that.
No,
Irish
you
people are
can't.
not like
You
that.
can't say that though.
You're the one
So
saying
you're saying an Irish person would never stab anyone
No,
ever.
of course they do. It happens.
So, like,
But
it does happen.
yeah,
Like,
but at a lot lower rates than migrant crime.
yeah, that's fair enough.
If you'd agree with me.
That is fair enough. I'm not agreeing with you, but that is fair enough. Yeah. Look, crime is crime. Like people will commit crimes. Like it will happen at the end of the day. You can't stop people. So
Certain groups commit more crimes than others.
yeah. No, look, we're not in America. Like, do you get me? It's not even that bad. It's not even that bad. It could be that bad in the future.
What do you mean bad? Bad as in what?
Like America is really bad in terms of crime and everything.
Yeah, and in the cities.
Far from it here in Letterkenny though.
Yeah, in the cities.
Yeah, probably would be. Yeah,
Where there's lots of African Americans.
like you could say that, but you know, it's all planning. The government are putting these people together to kill each other. You get me?
So was this the government's fault for all this crime then?
You could blame the government. People are blaming the government at the end of the day, so you could point fingers at anyone.
All right, what have you got there? You got a pizza box, have you?
Yeah, there's a 4-star pizza just around the corner.
Oh.
That young fella won that argument. I totally agree with everything that young fella said, that young Irishman that Niall McConnell interviewed. I totally agree with him. People are going to do terrible things. The argument with me is, I'm not saying that Irish people don't. I'm not here to say that it's all to do with the migrants and the refugees, because there is a lot of refugees and migrants that come into this country that are just here for a better life. I'm trying to say is, let's get a vetting process on the way here. If you're a rapist, pedophile, murderer, or criminal, or suspected of terrorism, you're not getting into this country. As it stands, under those things, I'm pretty sure that young fella and his family would still be in this country. If I implemented those things into Ireland, that young fella would still be coming into this country because he wouldn't be under any of those brackets. That's a credit to the community. That young fella is a credit to the Irish community, 100%. And he said it. He goes, Boko Haram is a terrorist organization, so he's on our side. He's not a radical. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. There is white ginger people in England and Ireland that are for radicalism, and they're for Sharia law. I'm against them too. That young fella is a credit to the Irish community, and he answered those questions perfectly, and he didn't. And I thought the title's very, very deceiving. It's very, very deceiving, that title. He did not say that he's going to wake up and stab people. He says people will just wake up and stab people. I could just wake up in the morning and stab somebody. He didn't say he was going to do it. He goes, people are going to do that. And he also stated, I have to say this, he goes, I think they're putting these groups of people together to kill each other. Once again, fantastic. That's a really accurate statement. I do believe that the Western governments are putting certain groups together of people to kill each other because they want civil unrest. But it's not people like him. That person is a credit to the community. And I respect Niall's line of question because he's got the right to do so. But that young Irishman that he interviewed definitely won. He definitely won that argument 100%. So I'm not going to talk about the 6-year-old that was found in the car that later on died because there's not enough information on it. I'm sure you have read the articles. All I can say in regards to that is that, my God, children should be protected in this world. And I don't want to speak about that without the full information. So obviously there'll be more information either tonight or tomorrow in regards to that. Just to recap on everything we spoke about today, we spoke about NATO and Ireland, how I definitely think that Ireland will join NATO in the future, full-blown membership, and Leo Varadkar will probably welcome that because he is a sociopath that does not care about Ireland. He really doesn't care about Ireland. And just to quote something else, I got speaking to somebody the other day and they were saying, did you hear about Leo and the Irish language? And I said, no. He says, well, by the way, this person I was speaking to, he's basically a teacher and he speaks fluent Irish. And he says, well, it was one of the things that I don't like Leo Varadkar over. He was asked about the Irish language and he says, oh yeah, it's a good little language and I try to learn a bit of it here and there. And he says, that's not something I want to hear from an Irish leader. I want to hear that, it's very important for the Irish language to be taught and for everybody in Ireland to know the Irish language. And that should be one of the things that he's proud of. He says that he just dismissed it like he was making a bacon sandwich. And that is key. Leo Varadkar doesn't actually love Ireland the way people think that he loves Ireland. Even for anybody that's watching this here from the far left or the left, he doesn't love Ireland. He's just got this agenda where we're bringing loads of people completely unvetted and completely destroy the country. And everybody of Ireland, the people that have fled here for safety, putting those people in danger also, along with the natives. So, once again, he needs to be voted out. We spoke about, NATO and, the hypocrisy in that. If I just change that from China, Russia, and Iran to radical Islamists, I'm considered far right and racist. But that news organization can just put Iran, China, and Russia in, and that's considered fine. The greatest threat to our country right now is radicalism, and we need to crack down on that with a heavy, heavy vetting process. The react to the second thing we've just watched there now, that young fella definitely 100% won that argument. 100% won that argument. He's a credit to the community, and he's right. He's 100% correct. Anybody can wake up and do that. Anybody can do it. And he said it. They're putting people together in Ireland and the West to kill each other, to cause civil unrest. He's correct about that. His family came here illegally. They weren't given any handouts. They worked very, very hard. And the Nigerians are some of the best doctors in the world. They are fantastic. Best bedside manner I've ever came across. So, we have to be very careful about who we target here, because that young fella is an Irishman, and I'll not even hear an argument against it. That young fella is a credit to the community. And yeah, he called out a Boko Haram as a terrorist organization. So is that young fella far right? Is he far right? Because I've been saying a Boko Haram is a terrorist organization. There's a lot of people from all around Africa under that ideology that are coming in here, that are being allowed to come in here, rip up their passports. If I say that, I'm far right and a racist. But he's just said that. He's from Nigeria. He's not from, he's an Irish, but he's got a Nigerian heritage. He grew up here all his life. He's just said that a Boko Haram is a terrorist organization. So why are we allowing people under the umbrella of Boko Haram to come in here? Why are we allowing that? Because there needs to be a vetting process. Under a vetting process, that young fella and his family would have still been allowed in because they're good people. They're not radicals. This is what I'm trying to say here. I know a lot of people struggle. Maybe it's just the way I explain things and you just don't understand me. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Enjoy the weekend. See you on Monday, and peace.